he would, argue with fans. And my thing is, I was sad when he went. Not like out of guilt. I think a lot of people were guilty. And because they made fun of him, yelled at him, used him, pretended to be his friend, pretended to have his best interest at heart, pretended to be his fan. Toured with him, I guess you could call it a tour. He had it like a tour going like a month or so before he passed. He was like in the middle of a tour supposedly. And it wasn't a tour. It was him in like a kind of a camper van with like a driver and I think a dog. And that was it. It wasn't like a whole band or anything. But he kept bragging about his tour. It wasn't like happy. There's people who they're happy. And you're kind of like, why are you happy with that? They get trolled, but they don't pay attention to it. They just keep going. That happens all the time on social media. They're just putting up a couple posts here or there, and then they get criticized. But then there's what he was doing, which was a magnet for criticism, because he literally documented his whole day. He'd go live multiple times, and each live is over an hour, and he'd go live multiple times a day. So he just went live the whole time. His career was pretty much held up by his internet presence. And so that's again why I'm confused, why people are confused that he passed. He displayed like everything all the time. I wasn't even a fan and I saw it. So I don't know. And people, I guess, would give him constructive criticism. But again, with his moon in Cancer, he might be obtuse about it, scared to admit it. Libra, his midheaven in Libra can make him a little obnoxious and sarcastic and just trying to like fight. Just try to be right and argue instead of intellectualizing or processing what the fight is about. And then his Sagittarius might make him maybe a bit arrogant and thinking he doesn't need advice. And so it made him come off deluded because it's like you definitely need constructive criticism and a real support system around you. But from what I saw, drugs wasn't really his issue. He did a little bit of, what do you call those things? Like whippets. He did some whippets. Like he huffed cans on live. Maybe weed. I don't think I ever saw him smoking weed. Drink, but like everyone drinks. Well, I don't drink, but drinking. I never saw him like so inebriated. I saw him clearly under the influence, but it was all anticlimactic. It wasn't like really anything. I just think it was more his mind and his finances. He let people know where he lived. He let people know the status of his relationship with his partner, his child, his pets, his relatives, his business partners, if you will. Everything. He let everyone know everything. Where he was, everything. He's even, well, I won't get into that, but again, questionable things. And even though he was clearly on the fringes he also was like clearly, I thought, doing well. He had a house. I don't know if he owned it, but he had a house. Nothing that a celebrity would brag about, but he bragged about it. He had a car. Again, I mean, he had food in his freezer. He didn't really seem to be struggling as a person. Maybe a celebrity. He had a lot of weird flexes. But as a person, he seemed to be doing fine. And, he wasn't living in Hollywood, but he's a Hollywood person living in a region of LA or South Cali. On his own, I suppose. He's young. He's like, what, 35? That's fucking young. Again, he's a celebrity. Even if he's not like a top celebrity, he's a celebrity. And untimely deaths are like so common. He always purported to be a gangster and have a lot of money and clean, sober. Again, weird flexes. But at the same time, choices would indicate choices and living conditions would indicate that he wasn't like the purest of souls or the stablest of minds. And but again, turning up, the way he did was still a shock. I thought he was doing fine. But what happened is when he gets literally called out, I don't know if the videos would be there anymore. No one with self-respect would keep the video up. But he argued with viewers. I don't know if they were even fans. But he bottom fed. And I don't think someone didn't know that he was a bottom feeder. Whether it was him or the people he was with. He attracted flies. And I'm not saying he was shit, but he bottom fed. He every time he turned up, he had some nobody struggle rapper on his side, or he was in, I guess, beef with them. Clout chasers. Maybe he was a clout chaser and was okay with other clout chasers, and they just clout chased together. I don't know, but or maybe he had no clue that he was a clout chaser, that he was around clout chasers. Somebody didn't know fully what was up somewhere. But I think he was savvy. And I always kind of looked up to that because I said, while he's on the fringes and while he might be a celebrity who's fallen from grace, he's still, as a person, doing fine. And so I looked up to it. I said, to be on a young, I suppose, young person in, I guess, the world, he was doing fine. And I was at a time where I was, I guess, struggling and not doing so fine. And I literally looked at him like, again, relating to him, like, minus the debauchery, but just the dynamics of his relationships and the status of his life, I guess. And so that's why I watched him. I never thought it was a train wreck about to happen. I just thought this is someone who's doing fine, but who doesn't mind putting their shit out there and getting negative attention. And so I said, well, this is shit and negative. It's fine because he's literally doing it. He's showing us what he's doing and he seems fine with it. But then I saw his birth chart like a month or so, maybe before he passed. And I'm like, I guess he wasn't fine. And that's the problem for me. Every once in a while, I look back and I think, just as I did today, really how sad it is. Because I literally watched him, apparently, on a highway to hell. And I had no clue. And I am thankful that I never went in his in his lives. I just watched them recycled, like weeks after it happened, and figuring that was weeks ago that he was, inebriated on his live or in legal trouble, and he's doing fine. He's, here weeks later going to a live show, and that was the thing. People would film his live shows, and you're not really supposed to do that, but they filmed it, and this is what I'm saying. He had people around him who didn't care. And I always told everyone in this part of the internet that they're having the times of their lives. They're on stage, they're, I suppose, touring, they're with a, I suppose, celebrity, and they're getting clout and might be getting paid. They're having the times of their lives, and they're gonna live even if Aaron doesn't. Everyone's saying, oh, Aaron's gonna die and you don't even care. And I missed that. Every time they said you're gonna die, I didn't roll my eyes, but I said, he doesn't seem like he's near death at all. The possibility is there for everyone, but I didn't see a dying person. I saw a person on the outskirts or the fringes, I guess. I saw a bottom feeder. I didn't see a deathly person. I saw someone who let themselves go, but I've seen way worse, and they're alive. And then he had a house with a bunch of food, and I never really saw him inebriated to the point of let's stop and call the hospital. But I again never was in his live. I saw his YouTubes, so it was up, not his, but the YouTubes. So it was up to people in the lives to, instead of saying things like, I guess, bottom feeding things like LOL or trolling or whatever. Someone could have been like, call 911, but the lives I always saw, he seemed fine, just a normal, smoked weed, had a drink person. So I'm thinking he might have been either suicidal or he had a beef that was more serious than we thought, and he resigned to it, and he got by them. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't think he just died from drugs, because I never really saw him doing drugs. Yes, he was huffing, but I mean, I don't know. But, yeah, so basically his birth chart really says it all. I mean, I guess I could pull it up and then leave screenshots, but I mean, I don't think I have to do that either. I mean, I know it's like a video, and I'm not trying to be a YouTuber, but I just think it would be useful information.